Sanju Verma, GST is fine. Earlier this year there was a direct tax reform that happened up to 12 lakhs, zero income tax, now the indirect tax. But that's not what is going to spur private investment. Ultimately, you have to go back to the basics, land, labor, capital. That's what's going to spur investment. Of course, as Gautam rightly said,
Inspector Raj.
all the compliances, license Raj, ease of business. All of these are things that Mr. Modi's government has been talking for a very long time. But ultimately, this is where the rubber hits the road, when there is an adversity. And right now, we have an adversity in the form of the tariffs.
Let's get one thing very clear, that the Trump tariffs actually account for less than 0.2% of India's GDP. And don't forget, each time you start paying disproportionate weightage. Zaka, I did not heckle this.
One second, Sharma, one second. Let her finish, please. Let her finish. Yeah.
Yes. She has a bad habit of interjecting and then she'll cry victim. Let's be very clear. Trump tariffs account for less than 0.2% of India's GDP. Our annual exports are $821 billion. Our exports to the US are $87 billion. But Trump's 50% plus tariffs are on exports of only $36 billion. So let's not exaggerate the impact of Trump tariffs. Let's not forget, we had an FTA with the ASEAN that we signed in 2022. We had an FTA that we signed with Australia in 2022. We just a couple of weeks back signed an FTA with the United Kingdom. So the Trump tariffs need to be taken cognizance of, but don't give disproportionate weightage to it, is my first point.
Okay.
My second point, with no offense to Gautam, he's a very erudite person. I think interest rates actually are very low. The repo rate today is at 5.5%. The bank rate at 5.75%. But for you and me, for people who borrow for homes, for cars, for educational loans, the marginal cost of lending, the MCLR is at its lowest that it has ever been, in the region of 8
Sanjuji, I've been speaking to my banker as a home loan consumer in this country. I've been speaking to my banker for the last 3 months. RBI has reduced the rates. When will you reduce my housing loan rate? And they don't have a clue.
Zaka, let me tell you. You should tell him that, for a floating rate, it is usually the MCLR, which is 8%, and he can at best have a markup of 0.5% or 1%, which means he cannot charge you more than 9% under Congress. Home loan rates were at the rate of 14 to 15%.